Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
We're buying prime brisket, dude. We're buying
Yeah.
prime brisket like it's a drug deal on the back of the
He's like, yo,
McDonald's
man,
parking
I got
lot.
that good beef, man. I got that good beef in the
And
trunk.
the
I
only
got that.
reason I was able to do it is because they were dropping off meat at the bar next door. So I'd meet them in the McDonald's parking lot, fill up the back of my catering van with their meat, and then I'd go home and load my food truck. But then by Saturday, I'm out of food again. Like I can't even cook for Saturday. So
So,
not bad at
Doug,
all.
last week we were talking
Huh?
about me, Doug. Last week we were speaking about me, and I was telling everybody about me. So guess what, Doug? This
We
week
were,
we're gonna focus on you.
geez, lucky
Yeah.
me.
So, Doug, I got a couple questions for you. We're gonna get a nice little outline and everything like that. So, I want you to tell me about. See, last week I was telling you about my experiences and everything like that. So, I'm gonna go back on here. It's like, tell me about your long hospitality industry. Like, tell me how you've been there for so long. Tell me why you've been there so long. Like, tell me all about it. Tell me. I want to hear the Doug Maxton experience.
It's like all my like restaurant history. So check it out,
Yeah,
dude.
like here, didn't you have a brewery? Didn't you have a food truck? We were doing catering. Didn't you have a restaurant? I want to hear it all. So does everybody else
All
here in
right.
America. They want to hear your story, Doug.
I don't know about everybody here in America, but so yeah, dude. I don't know if I ever told you like the full thing, but so even so, let's take it back. Let's take it back to the old school, the days of young Doug in Bakersfield, California. Besides cooking at home and shit like that. So my first over the table paying job that I actually had to pay taxes on like a big boy was for Long John Silver's, believe it or not. And I used to man the fryers at Long John Silver's like it was nobody's business, dude.
I think
Uh,
Long John Silver's gets a bad rap.
I agree. It took okay, so dude, I'll say for me, 110%. Like I eat at Long John Silver's. I won't say a lot, but a couple times a year I eat at Long John Silver's. For me,
Mhm.
it's straight nostalgia, dude. It's straight
Yeah, it's
nostalgia.
nostalgic for sure.
Yeah, it's nostalgia because it takes me back to the days of working there and going home and smelling like greasy fish like every day. So check this out, dude. So when I used to work at Long John Silver's in Bakersfield, we had a keg of beer in the front. And like when we would close, I mean, we're like 16, 17-year-old kids. And for whatever reason, it was always the dudes that worked in the back and the girls that worked up front. So the girls, when they were in charge of like sweeping the drive-through, right? So there was always two girls closing up front and two guys closing up back, and then there was a manager, right? So when the one girl went out and was sweeping the drive-through, the other girl would go back to the manager's office and like talk to the manager in the back, and the two dudes would go up front, and we would just start filling like 32-ounce cups filled with like
No way.
yeah, dude. We'd start filling 32-ounce cups and passing them out the drive-through to the chick that was sweeping the drive-through, and she would hide them behind the menu board, bro.
Oh,
And then
this is
so
probably
like,
before cameras.
yeah, dude, way before cameras, bro. Way before cameras, thank God. So then we'd get off work and we'd swing around the menu board and we'd all pick up. We all had like three 32-ounce beers. It was all warm we were like 16, 17. We didn't give a shit, dude. We just thought we
Yeah.
were cool
At
because
that point, you're just happy to have
we
it.
were just happy to have warm beer, dude. So yeah, Long John Silver's, in all honesty, working there was great, bro. Working there was absolutely amazing. So I moved. So halfway through my senior year, I moved back to Michigan actually. So I
Yes.
worked Long John Silver's from the time I was just before I was 16 until just before I was 18. So a couple years I worked there. And then when I moved back to Michigan, I became a line cook at Big Boy. You remember the old Big Boy restaurant?
Yeah.
So here's my claim to fame, dude. I was a cook at Big Boy. And I have a picture to show of this. I'll show it to you sometime. My son actually has it on his fridge in Chicago. Um, it sits up there. So my cousin and I got in trouble for stealing the Big Boy statue in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, when we worked at Big Boy, dude. So I was always in the hospitality industry, and it was just like this. You know how the hospitality, like working in a restaurant as a young kid, dude. I was just like working with a bunch of like college dudes that were like, I was in high school, they were all in college, and so it was just like party central. And then we were like stealing Big Boys and partying it up on the weekend. I lived like directly right behind Big Boy. So like there were days, dude, this was like the 90s, man. So there were days that we would just have like throw parties at the apartment. And then I'd walk over to Big Boy because I had to be at work and I'm still like half sloshed, right? 18 years old, 19 years old. And I would like walk into Big Boy and we had a payphone in the actual like the foyer area of Big Boy. There's like a room. There was a foyer, then you had to go through a second door to get in to be seated at like the hostess stand.
Mhm.
Dude, there was days that we'd be so drunk, we'd walk from my apartment and we'd walk into the fucking foyer and we'd call the manager from the payphone and we'd call in sick and turn around and walk back home, dude. So it was like, dude, uh,
Oh man.
yeah,
I
I'll have
hope
to
this
show you that.
manager's not listening to this podcast today.
I don't care. Statute limitations are so far past, bro.
Doug, you were fired from 25 years ago.
Yeah, dude. We got caught stealing the Big Boy statue. So the cops came. It was this whole big ordeal. Luckily, the manager didn't press charges. Then after check this out. Here's my claim to fame from the hospitality industry as a kid is like after stealing the Big Boy statue, I was actually selected as one of the top 10 employees of the company. And like they took us on a trip to Cedar Point and all kinds of shit, dude. It was wild, man. But I've always had a knack for just like having fun and doing dumb shit, and that just fits in with the hospitality industry. I felt like, right? So after about a year of working at Big Boy when I was a kid, I actually got a job. I welded. I was a welder for almost a year. I knew that I didn't want to work in restaurants my entire life, or so I thought, right? And then, just long story short, I wound up taking that getting out of the restaurant industry, going into welding. It was factory welding. It wasn't like this high. I was getting paid good money for being 19 or 18, 19 years old. I was getting paid really good money being a factory welder, but I would sit on my break and I would just see these dudes like 55, 60 years old, like just coughing and hacking up black shit, like, just from like inhaling
Yeah.
welding fumes their entire life. So I was just like, this life ain't for me, man. I knew that factory welding wasn't the way I wanted to go. So, hey, that's when I went to the Marines, and
Nice.
I felt like the
Thank you
rest.
for your service, sir.
Yeah, all good, man. So I felt like the rest was history. I went to the Marine Corps, retired from the Marines in 2015. So when I came back, so when I retired, like I was going to get into the brewing industry, man. And I went to school for fermentation science, and that took me back into a brewery. I ran a little brewery in Clare, Michigan for, I'd say it was just under 4 years, right? And loved everything about the brewing industry. It was fun, brewing beer all day. I had control over the entire production side of a little nano brewery. We were a 3.5 barrel system. So it was a small enough system that like we could play around and do what we wanted to. And I had free reign, dude. So if I wanted to try to brew something, I could just brew it because the system was small enough. If we wanted to do like a test batch of something, we weren't spending tens of thousands of dollars on a batch of beer, or even thousands of dollars. We were like, in the high hundreds, but it was worth a gamble to have a good beer. So I really had a fun experience in the brewing world. But while that was going on, I was doing kind of like just backyard caterings for friends and family, right? I had my smoker and I would just cruise around and do that. And then uh I forget what year it was. And well, must have been 2016, a little over a year after I'd been working at the brewery and I'm doing these caterings. And then the health department called me. Somebody turned me in for doing like backyard caterings for friends and family, dude. And the health department called me and they were like, "Are you doing this?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm doing it." Like who, it was not that big of a deal. Well, to the health department, it was kind of a
That
big
big of a
deal.
deal.
They're like, "It is a
Kind
big
of a big
deal. Like
deal.
you're not licensed." And I was like, "Son of a bitch." So I was like, "Well, what do I got to do to get licensed?" And they're like, "Well, for what you're doing, the easiest way is to license a food truck because you ain't got to have a commissary kitchen, all this stuff. In Michigan, you can actually have the food truck is a licensed kitchen. Some places are like that, some places aren't. So we were like, all right, dude, fuck it. Let's build a food trucks. Uh, we got off the phone with the health department that day. I had set up a meeting with them so they could tell me exactly what I needed to do. And literally we just went and built the food truck and we were still doing the catering. So like I had the food truck built, but it wasn't like we didn't have the plumbing. We didn't have the water, the electrical ran, any of that stuff. So I would take the food truck around. It was a trailer. I would take the trailer around to like all these catering events I was doing, but there was really no kitchen inside. Literally inside the actual food trailer was a blow up air mattress, bro, because I had no plumbing or electrical going on inside of it. So there was this badass food trailer that was there. And I was literally just like sleeping inside of it and like roasting pigs all night, doing barbecue all night, hanging out at all these little catering events. But
Talk
it
about
was,
commitment, bro. Talk about commitment.
dude, it was. But you know what was badass about it is that we continued to build the brand that we were going after while we were building it. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So it took us about a year and a half because we built everything from the ground up. We didn't just go buy a trailer. Like when I do something, I get these grandiose ideas and I start from the ground up and I want shit to be unique, right? So by the time of actually getting license rolled around, we pulled up to the parking lot that morning of our first day of officially being a licensed food truck. And dude, I pulled up in that parking lot, bro, and there was like 45 to 60 people like waiting for us to be there. I wasn't even set up yet. And it was just like, it was kind of awe-inspiring. It was kind of awesome.
makes you feel good, dog.
It does, bro. It does.
Yeah.
It was an amazing feeling, right? And to be honest with you, 110%, I know I took a long segment to tie that in. From that point forward, all Doug did was hang on for the ride, bro.
Nice.
The brand and the business just took itself, and I kind of just followed it, to be honest with you.
Was there
Uh,
any fines from the health department when you
no,
they just gave you a little slap on the hand?
yeah, they just told me I was being bad and I needed to do it the right way. But to be honest with you, I'm glad you asked that because I think that's a big thing that a lot of people in the hospitality industry, especially food truck world, and I'm sure you deal with it like in the personal chef world, you know, people have this stigma with the health department of like, oh man, they're bad. But I'll be honest with you, like they helped me tremendously, dude. And
Mm.
I feel like if I had not had them helping me, it would have been a lot worse. It would have been a lot harder for me. But they guided me all along the way. I would like take my plans into them, like, hey, this is how I'm building the food truck. Is this right? Or am I going to be in trouble? And they were like, hey, move your drain over here, move this plug over there, make sure this plug is a GFI. And I was like, all right, bet. But because they knew I think because they knew I was doing things the right way, right? I was
Yeah,
leaning on them as more as like, you're going to be the one that's going to pull the plug on me later, so tell me how to do it correctly now. And I kind of involved them in the process of building the food truck, to be honest with you, so I knew I was doing it right.
yeah.
um
Food reps or health department gets kind of like a bad rep because here, if you're a restaurant, if you're running a dirty restaurant, you hate the health department. If
mhm,
you are not, if your food isn't temped in the cooler and everything's all labeled, you hate the
sure,
health department.
sure,
That is what the health department's for. I never understood like when I worked at restaurants and stuff like that. Like oh, health department's coming, health department's coming. Like, why are you tripping?
yeah,
Like, if you do stuff right, then you be like, all right, cool. Yeah, you mark it off. Hey, this needs to be labeled here, and they'll come in and they help. And
$100%.
people think they ridicule. I mean, can they close a restaurant? Of course, but if your restaurant has got enough shit going on in there where the health department's got to close you down, by God, you better be closed. I ain't trying to eat no rat poop. You know what I'm saying? So health department's
Absolutely,
good.
absolutely. And you know, part of it for me too, to 110%, was that coming from like the structured military background where like I was so my mind at the time, my mind and my brain was so wrapped around regulations and how to follow regulations and what you have to do, that like it was a very easy process for me to transition over to the health department. Like, oh, these are the regulations, these are what they want. I just got to figure out how to operate within those regulations now. And that's what I did. I didn't try to cut corners. I didn't try to make shit up. I didn't try to push back. I just did what was asked of me and asked them to help me along the way. And they did 110%. The health department was great through the whole process. And
Nice.
you know what that did too, bro, is that actually set me up because it was, gosh, I'm trying to do math in my head. That was 2016, 2017. I was finally licensed. By the end of 2018, I couldn't even keep up with the food truck, bro, because the food truck was so small. I could not keep enough food in the truck for the entire weekend. I mean, I was doing brisket, pulled pork. I mean, these big cuts of meat take up my entire fridge space, right?
Yeah, and they
So,
sell quick too, so you can't have backups for them. It's like if you've got
right.
15 pounders, that's what you've got. You can't
Mhm.
go to the store and just go pick up some more. You know what I
Correct.
mean? I feel you.
Correct. So it became a space issue for me. By a year in, dude, my food truck was thriving so well that I couldn't even go out for. I'd sell out in the first day and wouldn't even have more space on the truck for meat for the next day. So I couldn't do weekend events because I would be like, I would sell out Friday night, then I had to go right back to the store on Saturday. Then I had to cook, and then I've been in it's a really weird like logistical game with barbecue, dude. It really is. and
Yeah.
going back and forth to the supplier every single day, where I was getting my meats from. Because like we talked last week about how like you go in and you get like your shit cut for you, right?
Yes,
I
sir.
wasn't just going to the store and buying briskets. I wasn't just going to Sam's Club and buying briskets. I was using a meat supplier from northern Michigan that I had to meet in the McDonald's parking lot and load up my coolers and take them home and put them in the fridge. You know what I mean? So
Don't be suspicious. Don't be
yeah,
suspicious.
yeah, we're buying we're buying prime brisket, dude. We're buying
Yeah.
prime brisket like it's a drug deal on the back of the
He's like, yo,
McDonald's
man,
parking
I got
lot.
that good beef, man. I got that good beef in the
And
trunk.
the
I
only
got that.
reason I was able to do it is because they were dropping off meat at the bar next door. So I'd meet them in the McDonald's parking lot, fill up the back of my catering van with their meat, and then I'd go home and load my food truck. But then by Saturday, I'm out of food again. Like I can't even cook for Saturday. So it got to the point where I couldn't even go out for a full weekend in my food truck, but I knew that my food was selling out. So I needed a walk-in cooler. And it just so happened that this building in Michigan was for sale. It had been for sale for a couple years. And so I jumped on it, dude, and the rest was history. Like it had a takeout counter, it had a full kitchen, it had giant walk-in cooler. The outside of the building, the motif, everything was kind of looked like an old, like a looked like the outside of a Cracker Barrel was kind of the best way I can describe it.
Okay, I can see
Wooden
it. I feel,
motif.
yeah.
So a Scream Barbecue, dude, and we jumped in and literally I just held on. And dude, we were a seasonal business. We did everything right. We did everything from scratch. We had 27 different wing sauces at one point, everything made from scratch. So we just made sure we did everything right. We did what people wanted. We did what people loved. Got through the pandemic, which was absolute hell for a restaurant in Michigan. And after that, it was just, the rest is history, dude. I woke up one day and I looked around. My kids had graduated high school, and it was just like, "The fuck are you doing, bro? I never wanted a restaurant. I never wanted, uh, never wanted all of this, dude. I thought we were just doing like good backyard barbecue shit. So that's my one. If I had to say it, that would be my one. I don't want to call it a regret because it's not really a regret. That's a very strong word, but if I could go back and just keep my business, my original business as a food truck catering company, I would have never gone into the brick and mortar restaurant. I would have just bought a walk-in cooler and put it behind my house to store meat in. You know what I mean? Um,
Was actually gonna ask. That's gonna be my follow up question. It's like you needed a walk in cooler, right? And you bought a fucking building.
yeah, yeah, man,
You
yeah,
needed a cooler, and you bought a building.
yeah, because the
It's like
building had
the cooler was in the building,
the
but you
cooler was
don't
in the
really need
building,
the
dude.
rest of the building. And you're like,
Yeah,
and then a year later, you're like, I don't even know if I want to be in a restaurant. Things you should have thought of before you bought a fucking building with a cooler in it.
100%, bro. I've told you this before, man.
Oh my god.
When people ask me about like having a restaurant, I told you I was an accidental restaurant owner, bro.
Yeah.
I had no fucking, I had no, what am I trying to say? Not no desire. I had the desire. I had no business. I had no business going from the military world to like running a fucking restaurant, dude. Like none whatsoever. I
At least
was
I thought your operations were on point because you're
They were.
militant. You know what I mean?
They
Like,
were to a degree. Yeah, they were, but it was just we did well. Like I'm not going to knock anything we did because we were very very successful, bro. We really were. I just realized at one point it wasn't what I wanted, and I realized at one point that the reason that I was an accidental restaurant owner, the way that I branded the food truck before it was even built, the way that people were waiting for me when we went out there, the way that I was very good at capturing the attention of people for my business, that's what grew my business, bro. We had great barbecue. We did everything from scratch. We did it right, but I was very good at getting it in front of people. I didn't have to work hard at that. And when those two things clicked in my brain where it was like, look, you hate the operational side of a restaurant, but you're very good at branding them and you're very good at getting in front of people. And my kids were no longer in high school. That's when the writing was on the wall for me. So I had somebody tell me at one point, they were like, dude, you need to design the life you want and then build a business around that life. And I took that to heart, dude. Like it made so much sense to me when he told me that. And I did. I went out. I like it was literally like that night. I went and sat down and I was like, okay, what type of life do I want? I want to travel. I want to be a nomad. I don't want to be stuck in one spot. I want to be able to work from the road. Well, I don't know if you know this or not, bro, but having a fucking brick and mortar restaurant, you can't do that.
Gotta keeps you centralized.
Yeah. Yeah. If that office door, if that hour on the door says you got to be there at 8 a.m. for barbecue, you got to be there at 8 p.m. the night prior getting ready. Um, so yeah, so I did that. I designed the business I wanted. I initially went into social media marketing, like on freelance type shit, and we've just grown that to where now we're, as you know, we're just doing the back end systems. We don't even really do much front end marketing much anymore. We do, but more of what we do is capturing back end systems and automating the process for people. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, man.
Okay, so I got a couple of questions following up. Like, so when did you realize that the food business? Here, two questions. When did you realize that the food business is way harder than people think?
Mm,
And follow up question is, when did you realize that you wanted to get like more on the business side than the cooking side? That's what I mean.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
but there has to be more to it.
For sure. So when did I realize that the food industry was harder than what people think? To be honest with you, when I had to grow it to the point that I had to rely on employees,
Okay.
110%. When it was grown to the point that I had to rely on employees, and for me, this is a completely like a Doug Maxon thing. I'm not saying this is accurate for everybody, but I was still at this time. I mean, you're talking like 2019. I'd been retired for 4 years from the military, but I was still very much. I'd been running a brewery on my own. I'd been doing the food truck pretty much on my own. So now I'm in this restaurant, and I had to rely on other people. And I had this military mindset that if shit just needs to be done, somebody's going to get it done. Like this is what everything was set up how it's supposed to be. People are
Mm,
just going to do it because that's their job, right? That is not fucking true, bro. That
mm-mm.
is not true at all, dude. Nobody
Not at
does
all.
shit. Nobody does
No.
shit. In fact, most people they try to do the very least when they're just collecting a paycheck. Not that they're bad employees, but they're going to take their job description, they're going to do the very least they have to do to maintain it, and nobody's ever going to care about the business the way that you do, right?
Yeah, nobody does.
Nobody does.
I
No
know
matter
about
what they
that.
tell you. And I had great, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking the employees I had. I had great employees. I had some shitty ones, but I had great employees. I had great managers. But at the end of the day, no one's going to love it like it's their baby, and they shouldn't be expected to, right? If they're not an owner, they shouldn't be expected to treat it like an owner. And that was something that was very hard for me to go through as an owner, because I was expecting to have a team where like everybody was going to do their part. And there was some growing pains with that. I'm talking days, and I'm sure there's people that could listen to this that would attest to this, like days of angry Doug pulling burnt mac and cheese out of the oven and drop kicking it across the kitchen, and fucking flaming balls of mac and cheese are hitting people in the necks and like sliding all over. Like it got pretty fucking brutal, dude. So I the operational side, like 110% wore me into the ground, dude. I made some bad hires. I think the biggest part of it to get to that, the biggest eye opener for me is that the one year I went out, so I bought another smoker. I put like 10 grand into a new smoker setup, and I hired a dude to do nothing but be the pit master. And it was the worst fucking hire I ever made in my life, man. Worst
Did he
hire.
not know how to do it, or is he just lazy?
I think lazy. 110%. He was lazy, bro.
I mean, it's not even that. It's not even that hard. You just got to pay attention.
No, no. And I think when I hired him to smoke for me, this dude just took that to me, and I'm just going to sit by the smoker and smoke cigarettes all day. And it wound up being that one bad hire was detrimental to my business, bro.
How much
Detrimental,
money? How much did it cost you? How much product did you lose?
bro. It cost me. I will say that year it cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's not an exaggeration. Hundreds of
One
thousands.
dude,
One dude.
one dude and his pack of Marlboro Reds, huh?
One dude and his pack of Marlboro Reds cost me $100,000 minimum, and he stole my chainsaw. Like, yeah. Uh, and I think for me, like everything leading up to that, that was the final draw. It was just like, dude, I'm never gonna be able to get somebody in here that's gonna be the way that I need it to be. And I was already so burnt out. I was ready for the exit. I was coming up on my 5-year mark on the building. And I had always said when I went into having the building, the one good thing that worked in my favor is I always had an exit strategy at the 5-year mark, right?
Mm.
So I knew building this guy, dude, most restaurants go, what is it, like 3 years? Most restaurants die. Is that the
Yeah,
number?
it's a high end 5 year shelf
Yeah,
life.
3 to 5 years. So knowing that statistic in my head, I gave myself an exit at the 5-year mark. And when it came down time to make the decision of whether I wanted to keep going with this or whether I wanted to exit, I just followed the exit plan instead. We sold the building. Because okay, let me back up. What really happened with this dude trying to run my restaurant for me? I mean, he was the most integral part of a fucking barbecue restaurant. And we had a catering company, we had the restaurant, we had the food truck going on, and we were operating a food truck park like 30 miles away because this was like the heart of COVID.
Mm.
And this dude just tanked everything by not being able to keep up with demand. And he lied on his resume, right? They say,
You don't say. You don't say.
that's yeah, that's a big thing. Listen to two fake chefs talk about lying on resumes, right?
I've never lied once on my resume,
Yeah, I
sir. Never once.
got two fake chefs lying about resumes. Imagine that, dude.
It
But,
just seems
but
like the topic of today, you know?
yeah, bro. But
Oh,
that was when I sat back and I looked at it and I was like, dude, I took two passions, right? I took two passions. I took brewing beer and I took barbecue, and I turned both of my passions into a job. And I actually came out of the end fucking despising both of those passions. I didn't even like doing them anymore. Brewing beer and barbecue just kind of, I lost it. And that's when I kind of took the step back and looked at it and was like, dude, the only reason my restaurant and food truck and everything was successful is because of how good I was at branding it. And so I took the exit strategy and I focused on branding and marketing and all of that good stuff. And the rest is history.
nice, man.
So how does that compare? So like what I went through, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. How does that compare like your journey with becoming a private chef? I know we talked
So,
about that. You had all those same hiccups.
yeah, so similar situations. So I was at a point where I had like 5 dinner parties, on a Friday and Saturday night and stuff. So I was hiring out, and I would do all the shopping and everything like that. I'd gotta do all the prep, take care of it. All they would have to do, pick up the cooler, go cook, go plate, clean up, nothing. Yeah, some people I definitely got it came back and bit me in the butt. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't that hard. Well, all right, listen to this. I'll tell you a crazy story. One time, one of my sous chefs dad was with me on a dinner party. It was a bachelorette party, all right, and I had driven, so he rode with me. And then we went back home. This dude saved the address, called his cousin, and then they went back to the house trying to sell him some football cards or whatever. But there's some else. The husband calls me. And he's like, I'm sitting on my couch. I'm just hanging out. I think I was watching Simpsons or something like that, and and I was just chilling. I just ate a little something, so I'm like, all right, it's cool. Yeah, and I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? I'm on the couch. I'm not here. He's like, no, you're sushi. I'm like, wait, what? And then I called the girl, and she tells me all about it. I'm like, what? I had to refund the whole damn dinner. I had to give them extra money on top of that, and I fired his ass.
He went back and was trying to like cold sell them baseball cards. Is that what you said?
I'm here. That
The fuck?
No, so here, there's something more there to it that I didn't find out, and I'm glad I brought to my attention when it was
Sure.
because
There's
yeah,
more
but yeah,
motive.
I had to refund. And honestly, real talk, bro, that was one of the best dinner parties that I had. Everybody was amazing. The food was delicious. Everything was. It was like like you have those events or whatever, like where everything just goes perfectly.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a flawless event until I'm
Flawless
at home.
victory.
Until I'm at home watching The
Yeah.
Simpsons after my
So
dinner party.
when you talk about events like that, dude. So friend, you could there's things that happen in this industry you just can't control it, bro. So
Yeah,
and I'm not even gonna say the venue by name because I actually really really do respect this dude. He's an amazing person. He has an amazing wedding venue. Like he's a good dude, right? I don't know what
but
drove this. So this would have been 2021 we went down to New Orleans. So, like I said, I had to fire the pitmaster, who was like the main fucking person in a barbecue business, right?
Yeah, it's kind of
And
important.
it was 2021. I lost all my employees because, uh, I had great employees, but I needed 18 people to run this whole thing flawlessly. And by the end of the year, I had like four. There was four of us doing it, and it was like the jobs of like 18 people, bro. Uh,
Jeez.
so at one point, we knew we couldn't keep up with just four of us. We couldn't keep the food truck going. We couldn't keep the food truck part going. We couldn't do all this stuff. So we had to dummy things down, right? I literally drove down to New Orleans, bro, and I bought New Orleans style shaved ice machines. Bought two of them. Got all the stuff to
Those are
do the
good.
shave. Dude, they're so good, bro. And like
So
nobody,
good.
yeah, man. And like people don't understand, like it's not a snow cone, bro. It's not a snow cone.
No, it's
In
shaved
fact,
ice.
so I bring these two machines back to Michigan, and we actually set my food trailer back up in the parking lot of the restaurant, and we started doing snowballs out of it, right? Well, because these were new, when we were trying to explain to people what snowballs were, we were still doing all the barbecue shit, but we were kind of focusing on telling people what snowballs were with a lot of our marketing, because we got to get these things to sell to recoup our investment. And I had a wedding party call me one day, and they were just like freaking out, dude. And I was like, no, you're good. Like, your wedding's not for like 2 or 3 months. Like, what's going on? They'd already given me the deposit. They'd given me a $500 deposit. We had the menu. Everything was done. Their wedding was like in a couple months. Long story short, come to find out, the wedding venue manager, the owner of the wedding venue, basically started telling these people to be careful. Dude, I was one of his preferred caterers. Like, people would go to him and be like, "Hey, who do you recommend for catering for my event?" I was one of the 10 people that he would put out to them, and I was the only barbecue guy on the fucking venue that was allowed to bring barbecue there. Uh, and then he started like just kind of backdooring me and telling these people that, like, well, I don't really know what he's doing over there because he's selling like snow cones now, and he's not. I haven't seen anything for barbecue, so you might want to look into it. And he caused panic like during the pandemic from these people that had like a wedding catering going on. And it turned into one of those things where it's like, then they started coming at me, and it was like they came at me from left field. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? Everything's fine, everything's good. Well, then they wanted to like make all these changes to the contract. Well, then because it was 2021 and meat prices had skyrocketed, so then I went in and I told them, I was like, well, it's going to be like $2,000 more to like, if that's the meat you want, it's going to be $2,000 more because the meat prices. Uh, and this fucking guy at the venue was just kind of basically backdooring me, telling them how I was full of shit and blah blah blah. It just got so stressful, man. It got so fucking stressful. And it wasn't even, I've said this before, like doing all the caterings, it was not even the brides and the grooms. Usually it was with that one, but it was brides' moms, man. Brides' moms made it so hard during COVID, bro.
Brides' moms are
So hard. And
some of them are real nice, bro. I've dealt with
sure.
brides'
Oh,
moms as
absolutely.
well, dude.
Absolutely.
Oh
Most of
my
them,
gosh, some of them are
most
the
of them,
sweetest, but some of
most
them,
of
dude.
them are great. Most of them are great. I'll even quantify.
Yeah, some of them will eat your soul.
The ones that are not great make up for it. The ones that are the three, you take 100 weddings, 97 of them will be great, but the three brides' moms that are not great ruin the whole pool for like 100 of them. It's insane,
That's
dude.
a that's a little higher percentage than I would have quoted, but okay.
Yeah, dude, it's insane, man. It's insane. But that was the restaurant industry during the pandemic. And here's what I'll say on that. Here's what I'll say on that, because you hear me say this a lot, dude. I am not one to sit back and be like, oh, the pandemic did this. Oh, the pandemic did that. Oh, it's because of the economy. Oh, as business owners, as a business owner, if you cannot adapt to what's going on around you to still be able to make money, that's on you as a business owner. And to be like, for me, my own mental health, my own everything, that's exactly what I had to do. I gave up all that stress, all that drama, all that bullshit of dealing with like thousands of people a day, to now I just have clients and I deal with like 10 a day, you know? Um,
Yeah.
I adapted my business to what was going on and what was still going to make me money and keep me happy. And it was the best decision I ever made in my life.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. I know if you're following along on this podcast, you want to get back to the topic, and we're going to get back in just a second. I just wanted to give you the opportunity. If you are following along, do us a favor. Take a second right now and just like and follow the podcast so you don't miss out on future episodes.
You gotta make Doug's mama and my mama proud. Gotta make them proud. Tap that like button. Share that video. Thank you, babe. So let's drift over towards system thinking and stuff like that. I'm curious why service business, like industry service businesses, struggle with marketing, advertising, and such like that.
So
Why does that happen? Because everybody thinks they just because they have great food, everybody's gonna just show up, right?
that was me. I had great food.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me more about that, buddy.
I'm gonna push back on that a little bit. I don't think
Okay.
that most businesses struggle with marketing. Most businesses in 2026 do an okay job with marketing. Are there people who put out better content? Yeah, absolutely. Our content is driven, or how good your marketing is now is really just a matter of how good of videos can you put out and catch the attention of people, right? So
Yes.
the reason why most service hospitality businesses struggle with this right now is because we're using outdated tactics. Like the majority of restaurants and people that I talk to that are just like, oh, well, I put up pictures on my Facebook and I do this on my Instagram and I put a reel up on TikTok and nobody just pays attention. And so I don't do it no more. Well, social media is no longer social media for one.
Mhm.
You see this in your own algorithm. You don't see the videos and pictures of people you follow unless you're actively engaging with that person, right?
Yeah, the algorithm's kind of messed up.
The algorithm's different. The algorithm's it's
It
not a
is.
matter of social media, it's interest-based media. If you go you can love my fucking restaurant, but if you go out and you start searching politics and the economy, puppies, rainbows, whatever, you're no longer seeing my restaurant stuff. You're going to start seeing the economy, politics, puppies, and rainbows, right?
Yeah.
So the hard part is that people think that we can go out and just market like we could pre-pandemic and just put pictures up and our followers will see it. We still chase followers. Followers don't mean shit anymore. So I think most people they don't struggle with marketing. They're doing all the right things. Where they're
Mhm.
failing is that when they do get that attention, like their marketing does work and trickles people into like because they put up that mouth-watering cheeseburger and people love it, there's nothing on the back end to capture the attention of the people once you have it and then remarket to those people,
Mhm.
cater to those people, give those people what they want, right? um
Yeah.
and if you break that down in numbers, bro, so like I don't know if we ever talked about this, but you break that down in numbers, right? People are always chasing like tens of thousands of followers. I want 50,000 followers, 10,000 followers. That's great. I wish you all the success in that because it does look good for your business to have followers. I'll never contest
Looks.
looks
Yeah.
don't pay the bills, bro. Looks do
Yeah.
not
I'd rather
fucking
have
pay the
600
bills.
solid followers, dude.
So we've absolutely talked about this before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I can get
You're
six,
a dude. I've learned so much from you, bro. I gotta tell you, like I've learned so much from you, my guy.
I
And I
appreciate
absorb
that, man.
everything I like a sponge, except finding emails.
Yeah, you do suck at finding emails. And part of that, I'm just giving you shit half the time too. Like I hope you
No,
don't.
I know, but it's well deserved. So
Yeah, yeah, 600 loyal customers. If you get the attention of 600 people, keep the attention. Don't let them people drift off, right? And they don't just we try things, but we don't try things. We don't try things. We live in an era now. We live in a world now where people expect everything tomorrow, right? Well, I'm doing
yeah,
this. I know this works. I'm doing this and I want results tomorrow. So the amount of people that I talk to that are like, well, we tried this, we tried that, we tried doing a customer database, we tried doing a VIP club, we tried doing a loyalty club, we tried doing all these things that will keep your customers coming back for you. I'm like, well, how long did you try it? Like, oh, we did it for a couple of weeks and it was just a pain in the ass. Well, you didn't even start scratching the surface in a couple
yeah.
of weeks, you
3
know?
months.
And as restaurant owners, let's just face it, like there's so much going on in not just restaurants. I have a habit of saying restaurants, food trucks, private chefs. You know how like, there's so many moving parts to these businesses.
Yeah,
Uh if you have a catering this week, if you have two caterings this weekend and you've got like 150 people on Friday, you've got 12 people on Saturday, and you got a brunch for 30 on Sunday. You have the happiness of almost 400 people sitting in your hands that you're getting ready for this week, right? So you're not focused on next week. You're not focused on, well, how am I going to get these 300 people to come back next week? You're focused on making them happy this week, right?
Yes.
And so it becomes a lot. It becomes just too much for somebody to do and maintain on their own. And that's where the transition came from for me. I know I'm kind of rambling right now, but that's really the transition from brewer, food truck, restaurant owner, doing marketing, doing freelance, to going, holy shit, it's not that these businesses suck at marketing. They're great at marketing. They're fine with marketing. Where they suck is making the marketing work for them once they have the attention. And that's where the systems come in. That's where, dude, everybody right now, like we talked yesterday with your system of text messaging those 13 people that we knew were local, right? And if businesses could understand, it's so much easier and so much cheaper to get somebody to come back and take your services a second time, a third time, a fourth time, a fifth time. That's much easier than getting a new client in the door any day of the week. They already
Because
trust you.
you've already proven yourself. You've already built a
proven
rapport
yourself.
with them. You've already,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
But most people,
I completely agree.
it's just kind of nature of the beast. Let's be real. If you wanted to be a systems guy, a marketing guy, all that stuff, you wouldn't be a private chef, because all of this is a full-time job. So, and I'll be honest, like there's just too many sharks in the water when it comes to like the marketing world too. The minute you search, marketer for your business, you're getting the interest-based media. You've got all the sharks that are coming at you and giving you offers. It's overwhelming. You don't know who to go with. You don't know what's going to work. You've already been burned by 3 people who told you they knew what they were doing. So why do you trust this next guy coming in the door? And it's just a dog eat dog world, dude. And there's no real viable education out there.
You're 100% correct, sir. You are 100% correct. I couldn't even say that better myself. You know what I mean? It's like, because I personally have gone through these situations and scenarios, like with me, like marketing, everything, photography and videography as well. I've gone through 17 different videographers and photographers. The last one stole my shit and owes me money.
You must have got my pitmaster, bro. Now
I bet you they're probably friends. Sharing a
now that
chainsaw.
dude's got a chainsaw and camera
Sharing a
equipment.
chainsaw.
Fuck, dude.
Oh man, how much more time we got left here, Doug?
We got about 10, 12 minutes or so.
Go.
You want to go into rapid fire?
Sure.
Let's go into rapid fire, then we'll close it up, dude. You're rapid firing me today, aren't you?
All right, here. I'm gonna start pass it off. Where do you see yourself in 5 years with your business?
Oh,
with your marketing advertising business?
5 years with my business?
Yes, sir.
Man, that's a good question. So I have a 10-year plan with my business, and within 10 years, I want to build it to the point where I can kind of step away and kind of have a board of people that actually run it a little bit better. Not better, but I mean, without me in the mix completely. In 5 years, I'll say this: I don't want to be the face of the business anymore within 5 years. I didn't want to be the face of the business when I started this whole digital chef, white bus media, like all this stuff. I don't like being the face of the business. I tried not to be the face of the business. Unfortunately, in today's world, building a brand, somebody has to be the face of the business. So until you have the money to pay the right personality to be the face of the business, you're the face of the business. So that's kind of where I'm
Well,
at.
at least you don't have an ugly face. You
What's
don't have
that?
an ugly face. You don't have an ugly face. It's a good face to have for the
Yeah,
business.
beautiful face to have. So we're actually trademarking Digital Chef. I just applied for the trademark last week, so we should have Digital Chef trademarked here within the next 8 months or so, and
Swag.
then I can continue to. That's the first step of having it trademarked to our brand, and I can slowly start pulling my face out of it. I've just got to be the point where I can find that right personality to take over the face of the business.
All right. Would you ever get back into food, or what? Oh, no, I'm going to rephrase that. The answer would probably be no. But what would it take to bring you back into the food side aspect?
Food side of the aspect. Actually, cooking, like what?
Yes,
Describe that a
sir.
little bit better.
Yeah, like
Operational
here.
cooking.
Yeah, like because here, I know you love cooking, dude, and
I
you're
do.
really good
I
at
do.
it.
I do.
Yeah,
I
so
love
like,
cooking.
what would it take? And I know this is all just hypothetical. What would it take to bring you back to that side,
Oh.
to the cooking part? If you could do it again right now with everything that you know, with everything that you know,
You want me to answer that honestly? What it would take for me to go back
absolutely.
to the cooking part? If White Bus Media and the Digital Chef brand were to tank, and I could no longer make money and provide a living with this business the way I have it set up right now, and it was a last ditch resort just so I wasn't like homeless and like eating scraps, I would go back into cooking and I would build a whole new food truck restaurant, all of that with me doing the cooking. Outside of that, I want nothing to do with the cooking and an operational side of a restaurant. Now, where I do see myself going is investment side. Like I'm actively like currently like I'm actively looking for partnerships within like the food and hospitality world where I can handle much more of like the business and the branding aspect of it and let that person go do their thing. But as far as me in the kitchen, it would take an act of God, bro.
So you're saying there's a chance.
You're saying there's a chance. Yeah. If you tank my fucking systems business, bro, I'll come be your sous chef.
Would you ever think about getting into, because with your cooking and everything like that? Once again, these are all hypotheticals.
Sure.
But
Sure.
like selling frozen meals or selling like meals at grocery stores with your like, because I know your food was good and everything like that. Have you ever thought about anything like that at all?
So at one point, especially when I was like I said, we had 27 different wings and sauces, bro. We had
Mm.
all made from scratch, all homemade. So at one point, I was kind of looking at get into the sauce. We had good sauces, peanut butter jelly wing sauce, fucking top notch. Yeah, figured, dude. I'm gonna make it for you when I come to Phoenix. You're gonna
That
love it,
sounds sexy.
dude. It's so good.
What kind of jelly? Grape or strawberry?
Raspberry or strawberry. Yep,
Ooh, he said
yep,
raspberry.
dude. Yep. So,
I'm so
but
hungry right now,
here's the
dude.
thing. Here's the thing, bro. And I know, like last week, you talked about like the little elote dip that you make, right? Not to shit in anybody's Wheaties, dude. Retail side of that is so hard to get into.
So
People
hard.
so hard. Like it's. Can you do it? Yeah, but you start that game if you're going to build that correctly. If you're going to build that correctly, unless you have a ton of money to start co-packing right off the bat and having that initial upfront investment that's huge and already have ins with like wholesalers to get you into the retail game, dude, you're starting this game off at farmers markets, bro. You're building your brand
Exactly.
at farmers markets. You're hustling. And so I don't think I would ever go that route. I thought about it with the sauces at one point, but everybody makes a sauce. Everybody tries to market a sauce. Everybody tries to retail a sauce, especially in the barbecue world. It just wasn't for us. So we just sold our shit locally out of the front. But yeah, I don't think I would get into that. Now, would I get into helping somebody market and brand and get into the stores? Absolutely. But I truly want to stay much more on the branding side of building it. That's what I'm good at, bro. It's what I'm good at. It's why my businesses have thrived in the past. It's why this current business is thriving for me. I know how to get attention in front of people. It's my forte. Cooking is much more of a hobby passion for me, and I want to keep it that way.
Don't want to ruin it.
Yeah. I've already ruined it twice. Just now I made a tri-tip yesterday out here at my son's house. I'm getting back into cooking now. I don't want to ruin it again, bro. I don't want to ruin it again.
How'd you do the tri-tip?
So typically, I'll tell you how I normally do tri-tip. I normally do a reverse sear. I typically I'll smoke it up to like a certain temperature, about 122 degrees, and then I'll pull it out and I'll sear it in cast iron, and then I'll let it rest for 10, 15 minutes. But I had to do it. I didn't really have a true smoker. I had a barbecue grill. So I did it like you typically do steaks in the industry. I seared it first, and then I threw it in the oven and finished it off.
Yeah.
Got it to a good like medium rare and killed it, man.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of tomahawks lately, man, where I have to
I
just
see that, dude. You've been killing it with tomahawks, bro.
yeah. So you're gonna just because, dude, those some bitches are like 2.5, 3 inches thick, dude. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So you gotta mark them because I do one side, mark one side for 2 minutes, quarter turn, 2 minutes, flip it over, 3 minutes. Still have one side has the crosses, one side has the lines. Because some
Yeah,
people like different grill marks or different marks. You know what I'm saying?
for
So I
sure.
kind of
For
give
sure.
them the opposite of choice, even though it's something stupid. People actually appreciate that for some reason. So
So let me
yeah.
ask you that. What's your is tomahawks like right now? You've been doing a lot of surf and turf, I've noticed. Uh
Yeah, because a lot of people go to my page and I'll ask, so I could cook anything you want. Here, I won't. I don't do beef Wellington because I don't want to spend that much time with my own family, let alone yours.
And
Freaking,
you
I
can
don't do
order it from
prime.
Gordon Ramsay in the mail. So whatever.
Yeah, and I don't do prime rib because that once again it takes forever, stuff like that. Uh, a lot of my so I can cook anything, but it seems like lately I've been cooking like the same 6 dinners because people go to my social media and they ask questions and everything like that and blah blah blah. And they're like, well, I saw this, and then I'll tell them about it because I don't have menus. All right, I always each guest we get to tailor their menu personally. So,
I
and
like
I'm
that
not they don't.
actually. I
Yeah,
like
so they don't just pick what some chef has put online or anything like that. You know what I mean? So, if you want like spaghetti and tacos, I got you. I mean,
yeah. Spaghetti tacos, dude. Just make it a taco.
yeah, but so people have been seeing it, you know, whatever, blah blah blah. They go to my social media and I explain everything. And I try to pitch stuff like here. Let's do some miso pan-seared ahi tuna or something like that. Let's do some branzino. Let's do some swordfish. Let's do steak. Some some actually like good not ribeyes, New York strips or something like this. Dude, New York strips get slept on. I don't know why. Those are good steaks.
I'm a ribeye
But
guy.
like,
I'm all day ribeye.
yeah, I'm a filet guy.
Filet?
I like
Okay.
fillets. Yeah, I don't like so fat is flavor. I don't like the fat. Like
I
that
don't
meat.
like overly fatty steak by any means of the word. I don't. Like sometimes ribeyes can get too fatty for me. They can.
Yeah, ribeyes can get real chunky.
Yeah.
But yes, um, but they see it and they pick it and that's what they like and all right, cool. So I've been trying to. I want people to order more things that I pitch to them. You know, so it is what it is. I don't care as long as they're happy. I'm happy.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
That's
If
it, man.
I know that I'm not like a six trick pony, and you know what I mean, but like if people see what they see and they like what they like, and it's just a lot of people have no idea what steak Oscar is as well.
Sure.
Like, and all it is surf and turf with Bernays. That's all it is. Just that extra Bernays Oscar.
Yeah. So would you say surf and turf is kind of becoming your favorite thing to cook? But you want to venture out. So like if you want to venture out, if somebody was listening right now, shoot them an offer, dude. Like what would you cook for at a discount right now just so you can cook it for somebody?
Shit, I would love to do. I want to do man. What do I want? What do I want? I want to do some pan seared ahi tuna with miso paste on top. I want that real bad. I want to do like a with that. I would like to do like a citrus polenta like underneath it and stuff like that. Have like maybe a little. Uh, what am I thinking? Not a mustard. Shit, I'm having a brain fart right now. But like a little drizzle of something across the side. I want to do like I want to do Alaskan king crab cakes. Just can you imagine how awesome that crab? Nobody makes crab cakes out of king crab. I want to make crab cakes out of king crab,
Let's
where they're
go.
like the size of burgers and stuff. And raw. Oh, I love that stuff. Oh, and I give shit, if somebody orders that menu, I'll give you 20% off.
There you go. There you go. Alaskan king crab and seared ahi, 20% off. So, okay.
And we don't have to do polenta. We can do whatever starch you want or vegetables and a salad of choice and stuff like that. But yeah, Alaskan king crab
Let's do
cakes.
this, bro. Let's on the next episode or two, let's talk about recipes and designing recipes. Let's talk to people about like how to design recipes and things like that on the next episode.
Absolutely, dude. I'm definitely down. Because it's I understand now. Everybody has a different palate. Okay, most people's palate is from what their mom or dad or grandma cooked, or whatever, blah blah
100%.
blah, and they don't expand out and everything like that. People get nervous about eating or making new things. They're already judging themselves. And I like it. So, example, my baked stuffed mushrooms. I hate mushrooms. I like them now, but I created a recipe for a baked stuffed mushroom that's amazing. It's all the juice from the meat and cheese soaks into the cap, totally changes the whole texture, and there's no earthy flavor. It's amazing. And people are like, "Oh, I don't like mushrooms." I'm like, here, try it. I'm 100% on it. If you don't like it, I won't make you pay for it. And then, okay. And then they try it. Wow, it's amazing. But you have to like basically offer it for free if they don't like it. And like, I'm just worried there's one person, now I don't like it just to be cheap.
Yeah. Well, there's that saying that people eat with their eyes first, but a lot of people, like before they eat with their eyes, they're eating with their ears because they're hearing what you're saying and they just automatically tune it out that they're not going to like it. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's
It's like, nope, I don't like that.
The one thing that I can't do that with, bro, and I was just telling my son and my daughter-in-law the other day, the one thing I cannot do that with is Brussels sprouts. I don't care how you cook them. I don't care how you make them. I don't care what you've done to them. I don't care how sexy you make them. Brussels sprouts always have a nasty, bitter, little fake ass cabbage flavor to me, dude. I just can't get down with them. Sorry.
Bro, I will make Brussels sprouts for you and you will love them.
I'll try it.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly that cabbagey flavor. Yeah, I found a way to eliminate it.
Everybody says that.
Because I hate
Every chef,
cabbage. I hate
chef
cabbage.
says that. Every chef says that. No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Every chef says that. No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
All right, brother.
Are we tying up for today?
Yeah. I think
this has been a great episode, man. Hey, folks out there, just remember, if you steal a big boy statue, you could be employee of the month the very next month.
Dude, I'm living proof, bro. Have I ever showed you that picture?
No. So this is the first time I've ever heard this story, and I've known you for years.
Oh, geez, dude. So let me tell you this actual story for a second, right? So here's what happened, right? We worked at Big Boy. I lived in the apartments right behind Big Boy. My window was on the second floor. I actually looked out my bedroom window and I could see the roof of Big Boy behind, right? That's how close I was to Big Boy. And so I worked there. My cousin worked there. 2 of my 3 roommates worked there. So 3 of the 4 people that I lived with, we all worked at Big Boy. And so we would sit there and party in the apartment. And I don't even remember how the joke came up. The joke came up one day that we were going to steal the Big Boy statue, right? And we joked about it and joked about it and joked about it. And we were sitting there partying one night. And then all of a sudden, my roommate looked at me. My cousin was there. We're the same age. And I think we were both like 18, 19 years old. And she looks at us and she goes, "So when are you guys going to do it?" And we're like, "Do what?" And she goes, "Steal the Big Boy statue." Bro, my cousin and I just like locked eyes and like there was no words spoken. And we both just got up, dude, from the dinner table that we were playing drinking games at. We went out the back door and we ran over to Big Boy and like there was like this cute little like bushes around the Big Boy statue and he was up.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Dude, I just ran and I over the bushes, bro, like tackled this Big Boy statue and I expected to have to like struggle a little bit to get it like off the podium. Dude, it was a little fiberglass statue big fiberglass statue held in by like 4 screws. So as soon as I gang tackled it, it just broke all the screws and it just fell over. We were like, just the bottom piece where the screws went in. So
okay.
We picked it up, dude. I picked it up by its feet. Or no, I picked it up by its head. My cousin picked up its feet and we went running back to the apartment, dude. And so as I'm going through I've been drinking. So I ate shit, dude. I ate shit and I fell in the middle of the parking lot. And I looked up and I'll never forget, my cousin is still running with this big ass Big Boy statue and Big Boy's head is like bouncing across the parking lot. Right. So then we get them. So they'll picture this, dude. The back of my apartment, like this sliding glass door in the back, there was this big, long, elongated grass area, right? And there was like 10 apartments that all came out to that same grass area. The goal, what we were going to do is we were actually going to take the Big Boy statue and we were going to put it in my bedroom and we were going to put the hamburger right in front of my window so that when people pulled into Big Boy, there's no statue. But the thing is this is just the dumb 18-year-old mind is like our bosses will see the hamburger in the window and they'll be like, "Hey," because everybody knew that's where I lived. They'll be like, "Hey, Doug has the Big Boy statue." And it'll be funny, haha, right? And then we'll return it. Well, this Big Boy statue was so big, bro, it wouldn't go in the sliding glass door. We couldn't even get it in the house, dude. So like no matter which way we turned,
because it was too wide, right? It was too fat, right?
It was too big. It wouldn't even go in the sliding glass door. So we're like,
my gosh,
without like actually destroying it, we couldn't get it in the sliding glass doors. So now we're like bummed and we're like, dude, no one's ever gonna. We're like, we have no option but to return it now because what are we gonna do with it, right? So we're like, son of a bitch, no one's ever gonna believe that we have this thing, right? So my cousin and I were like, let's take pictures with it. So we took a handful of pictures with it. I'll share that with you. And so we take pictures with this fucking Big Boy statue. And then all of a sudden, now by this point, everybody in those like 10 yards that go back to that back grass area, it's all college kids, dude. So like they're all coming out and they're like, they think it's all hilarious because there's this one apartment and they're all like playing with the Big Boy statue. Somebody yelled cops. And I remember hearing people yell cops. And then like I turned around, everybody ran back inside their respective apartments, right? And I went to run back inside mine, dude. My fucking roommate closed the door, bro, locked it, and had closed the shades, dude. And because me and my cousin were out taking pictures with the big boy statue, because we were the ones that took it, we were the only two left out back with the statue, right? So
Oh my God.
I look this way, and there's a cop car pulled up with like his lights shining on us down this like long grass corridor. So I looked the other way, and there was like 2 or 3 cops walking up the grass that way. And so I was like, fuck, dude. So I went to run, and I went to jump the fence and run that way. And like 2 cops came over the fence with flag. They had dude, it was like the crime of the century in this little small Michigan town, dude. I swear to you on everything holy, I'm not making this up. One of the cops yelled, "Drop the big boy." We're like, we're like, fuck, bro. So at this point, now we're trying to tell the cops we were just getting ready to take it back. They don't give a fuck. We have it in our backyard. Like, they don't care that we're just getting ready to take it back. Here's what saved me, dude, because I ended up getting an MIP, minor in possession of alcohol, because I was underage and I was drunk. But they were going to charge us with grand larceny, dude, because the big boy statue is worth like thousands of dollars, right?
Yeah.
So they were going to charge us with grand larceny. As true Doug Maxon fate, thank you from the Lord above, one of the cops that was on scene actually went to high school with the general manager of the restaurant. So he called him at like, dude, it was like 3:00 in the morning, bro. And he calls our boss, Brian, and he goes, "Hey, do you have a Doug and Derek Maxon that work for you?" And Brian's like, "Oh my God, I do. Are they okay? Like what's going on? Why are you calling me?" And he's like, "They stole your big boy statue." And he was like, "What?" So because the cops could get Brian on the phone that night, and Brian said, "No, don't press charges against him." He actually, what he said, he told them to take us to the police station and make us walk home. But the cop was like, "Dude, they're underage and they've been drinking. Like, that's a liability for me. Like, I can't do that." But luckily, over the phone that night, before we ever got officially arrested for it, Brian said not to press charges. So we got lucky.
Lucky as hell.
Didn't get charged with grand larceny, dude. So here, check this out. Here's part 2 of this story. This was in 1997, right? 1997. Yeah, 1997. 1998, I joined the Marine Corps, blah, blah, blah. I take off. Like 1999, 2000, somewhere around there, I came home on leave, and my dad and I were eating at Big Boy. This is like 3 years later, bro. And what they had done, we had the pictures of the Big Boy statue. There was actually an article in the newspaper about the Big Boy theft, like the little blotters section where it's like 18-year-old Shepherd man and 18-year-old Remus man arrested for stealing Big Boy, underage drinking, blah, 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 blah. So my roommate took one of the pictures of my cousin and I with the Big Boy statue, and then took the fucking article from the newspaper and put it on a plaque. And they put it in the office of Big Boy, bro. So everybody at Big Boy thought this was hilarious, right? So like 3 years have gone by. My dad and I are eating at the restaurant, and we had a waitress up there, and my dad and I were just kind of talking about the story because my dad thought I was a juvenile delinquent, right? He may have had some rightfully thoughts there. And so I asked the waitress, I was like, "Hey," I was like, "Downstairs in the office, is there still a plaque on the wall of like 2 guys who stole the Big Boy statue?" And she goes, I don't know. I never go to the office down there. Like, I'm a server, right?" I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." Kind of forgot about it. We're eating our meal. Dude, she comes back up with the plaque, and she shows it to my dad, and she goes, "You mean this one?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." Dude, I couldn't make
The
this story
fact
up.
that it was still up 3 years later, bro.
Yeah. I couldn't,
You're a fucking icon in the Big Boy fucking world,
bro.
bro.
So I'm 47 years old now, dog. This happened when I was 18, right? I can literally go back to, this is like Mount Pleasant, Michigan. It's like, I don't know, tens of thousands of people. There's a college there. It's a decent sized town, but it's not a big town by any means. I can go back at 47 years old, and if I'm talking to people around my age, maybe a little bit older, and I talk about this story, they'll be like, "I remember that being all over the news. I remember people talking about that. I remember everybody talking." It was like the talk of the town, dude. I was like, "Yeah, that was me, bro."
That was a great ending to that episode.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was perfect, dude.
Yeah.
I
So here's
love
the
that,
thing.
man.
The Big Boy building in Mount Pleasant, Michigan is now closed down. It's no longer there. There's a new statue, but it's a closed down restaurant. So if you ever want to buy, for nostalgia reasons, a Big Boy restaurant and we could do something with it, I know of one in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. I've got great history there.